There was a beautiful and fragrant violet that lived quietly among her friends and moved happily between the other flowers in a lonely garden. One morning, when her crown was decorated with raindrops, she raised her head and looked around. She saw a tall and beautiful rose standing proudly and reaching high to space like a flame torch on a lamp of emerald. The violet opened her lips and said, "How unfortunate am I among those flowers, and how humble is the position that I have in front of them. Nature created me short and poor. I live close to the earth, and I cannot raise my head to the blue sky or bend my face toward the sun as the rose does." The rose listened to the words of her neighbor. She laughed and commented, "How strange is your talk! You are lucky, and yet you cannot understand your fortune. The nature gave you fragrance and beauty which was never given to any other flower. Throw these thoughts away and be content. Remember that whoever humbles the self will rise, and whoever exalts the self will crush." The violet responded, "You console me because you have what I want. You want to bitter me in the sense that you are great. How painful is the preaching of the fortunate in the heart of the miserable, and how strict is the strong when he is the counselor of the weak." The nature heard the dialogue of the violet with the rose. She approached and said, "What happened, my daughter Violet? You have been humble and sweet in all your actions and words. Did greed enter your heart and paralyze your senses?" With a begging voice, the violet answered, saying, "Great and gracious mother, full of love and compassion, please, with all my heart and soul, make me a favor and let me be a rose for one day." And the nature replied, "You don't know what you are asking for. You don't conceive the hidden disaster behind your blind ambition. If you were a rose, you would regret, and the regret wouldn't be beneficial at all." The violet insisted, "Make me a tall rose, because I want to raise my head high with pride, and regardless of my luck, it will be my own fault." Nature backed down, saying, "You naive and ignorant violet, I will do you a favor, but if calamity strikes you, your complaint should be directed upon you." And the nature extended its mysterious and magical fingers and turned the violet into a rose, who soared above all the flowers in the garden. In the evening, the sky was filled with dense black clouds, and the furious elements agitated the silence of existence with thunders, which started hitting the garden, sending a great rain and strong winds. The storm tore the branches and uprooted the plants and broke the stems of tall flowers, sparing only the little ones who grew close to the friendly earth. That lonely garden suffered greatly from the hostile sky, and when the storm calmed and the sky cleared, all the plants got destroyed. None of them escaped the wrath of nature except those little violets that were close to the earth. One of the young violets raised her head, and looking at the tragedy of the flowers and the trees, she smiled happily and said to her companion, "Look what the storm did to the proud flowers." Another violet said, "We are small and living close to the earth, but we are safe from the wrath of the heavens." The third one added, "Due to our shortness, the storm cannot succumb us." That moment, the queen of the violets saw next to her the transformed violet, broken by the storm like a weak soldier on a battlefield. The queen of the violets called her family and said, "Look, my daughters, and think what greed made to the violet that became a proud rose for one day. The memory of this scene may be a reminder to you of your good fortune." The dying rose moved, assembled the remnants of her strength, and quietly said, "You are content and meek fools. Yesterday, I as well was satisfied and happy with life, but satisfaction acted as obstacle between my existence and the storm of life, which constrained me in a sick and lazy bliss of peace of spirit. I could ask the same life you live now by clinging with fear to the earth. I could wait for the winter to bundle me in snow and surrender me to death, who will certainly take all violets. But I am glad now because I explored outside my little world the secret of the universe, something you haven't done yet. I could ignore greed, whose nature is superior than mine, but I was listening to the silence of the night and heard the heavenly world talking to the earthly world, saying, ambition beyond existence is the basic purpose of our life. That moment, my spirit revolted and my heart ached for a place higher than my constrained existence. I understood that the abyss can't listen to the song of the stars, and I started fighting against my smallness and craved for what didn't belong to me. My rebelliousness became my strength and my wish into creating will. Nature, who is the great object of our deeper dreams, satisfied my request and made me a rose with her magic. The rose, silenced for a moment and with a weak voice filled with pride and achievement, said, I lived one day as a proud rose. I have lived for a time like a queen. I have looked at the universe from the eyes of a rose, listened to the whispers of the sky with ears of rose, and touched the fold of the light's dress with rose petals. Is there anyone here who can claim this honor? Having spoken this, it lowered the head with a weak voice and said, gasping, I will die now because my soul has achieved its purpose. Finally, I extended my knowledge to the world far from the cave of my birth. This is the plan of life. This is the secret of existence. Then the rose quivered, slowly folded her petals, and breathed her last with a heavenly smile upon her lips. A smile of fulfillment of hope and purpose in life. A smile of victory. A God's smile.